And if you think this is just a story, then I pray you never have to learn the truth the hard way like I did. Hi, OJ. How I wish people will listen or watch this confession of mine before listening to any gospel song. You won't believe the things I've seen, the things I have done, the things happening right under our noses, in the places we tend to for salvation. If I told you that the gospel music industry, the very same industry meant to bring people closer to God, is crawling with darkness, would you believe me? I don't believe it either, not at first. I was just a young man with a gift, a voice that could move souls. I started in a small singing group in my church. There were 7 of us, full of passion, singing our hearts out for God. We believed we were doing His work, but passion doesn't pay the bills, does it? Then came the opportunity, the kind of chance every struggling gospel musician dreams of: a trip abroad, Canada to be precise. That's where I met him. He was already established, a big man in the ministry, an African brother making waves in the gospel scene. He saw something in me, at least that's what he made me believe. We became close. He took me under his wings. Whenever he was billed to perform, he would bring me along, give me the stage, let me shine. I trusted him. He was my brother, my mentor, my lifeline. And then one day, he told me he wanted to help me break through, really break through. He had connections, powerful men of God who had paved the way for him. He said he would introduce me. OJ, tell me, which angry gospel artist would say no to this? So when he said we were traveling to UK for a program where I would meet one of the most powerful ministers, I didn't hesitate. He handled everything: the flight, the accommodation. I didn't have to pay a single cedi. Generosity, right? No, it was the first step in a long fall. We arrived, and that night I met him, the man I've seen all over TV, the one everyone revered. If I mention his name right now, OJ, I swear you will fall off your chair. But I'll get to that later. At first, it was normal. We talked, laughed, discussed the ministry. Then he asked my friend to get a drink from the fridge, hard liquor. They both drank and offered me some. I told them I don't drink. They laughed. Relax, the man said. It's just a drink. I took a sip, then another, then another. That was my last memory of the night. I woke up on the sofa, half naked. My body ached in places that didn't make sense. My clothes were neatly folded on a chair beside me. My phone was there. I grabbed it, tried to call my friend. No answer. I checked myself, OJ. I felt pain, a deep, shameful, violating pain. And when I checked with my finger, I knew I had been taken, used, and violated. I rushed to the bathroom, shaking, watched myself over and over again, trying to scrap away something I couldn't name. Then my phone rang. It was my friend. Order food, he said casually, as if nothing had happened. I wanted to scream, demand answers, but he hung up before I could even ask. They returned late that night. The pastor smiled at me, told me to relax, that he had something important to discuss. He looked me in the eyes and said, "Do you want to make it in this ministry?" I didn't answer. He continued, "I can take you to heights you've never imagined. You just have to let me guide you." Then he booked me a separate hotel room, told me to rest, said we would visit the temple at dawn for my initiation. Hmm. I didn't question it. I was too numb, too confused. That night, something came over me, something unnatural. I felt an edge, strong, undeniable, but not for a woman, for a man. I couldn't fight it, OJ. I didn't want to fight it. I knocked on their door. My friend opened it, stepped aside. I walked in. The pastor was lying on the bed wearing only a singlet and boxers. My friend was the same. I climbed onto the bed and kissed him. It's at this point that I ask that you subscribe to the channel, share a comment, or click on the like button, as that is the only way you encourage me to bring you more confessions and more stories. So please, subscribe. Let's go. He kissed me back. I knew he would come, he whispered. That night, OJ, I crossed a line I'd never thought I would even approach. The three of us together. By morning, I was no longer the same man. The pastor told me he would be my man, just as he was for my friend. That he would stand for me during my initiation, that I would soon receive power. I agreed. That evening, I was led into the depth of something I still struggle to explain. I bowed before an altar, swore oaths I barely understood, offered my soul to something far greater, far darker than I'd ever imagined. I was now one of them. And in return, I was promised everything: fame, fortune, power. All I had to do was bring in others, 15 to be exact. 15 young, promising ministers, just like I had once been. And OJ, I did it. 15 gospel musicians, men and women you see on TV, hear on the radio, worship with in church. I brought them in. And now, I can't escape. By morning, the pastor sat me down. He looked at me like a father would his son and said, "You've taken the first step. Now, are you ready for more?" There was no hesitation in my voice when I answered yes. That same day, I was initiated into the kingdom. Not God's kingdom, the other kingdom. The one where power is granted in exchange for obedience, where worship is redirected, where men bow to something they don't fully understand until it's too late. I thought it would end there, that I would get my fame, my song would touch lives, and my name would rise. But the deeper I went, the more they demanded. It was never just about me. I had to bring others in. OJ, I have personally initiated 15 top gospel musicians into this cult. Men and women you hear on the radio and watch on television. People whose voices bring you to tears, whose voices make you feel the presence of something divine. But the question is, do you know which divine this presence is? Because I'll tell you the truth, most of these songs don't come from God. You see, once you are in, you can't turn back. They make sure of that. My initiation wasn't just a ritual, it was a breaking, a reshaping of who I was. I was used and violated over and over. My body wasn't mine anymore, and neither was my will. And because of how I was broken, I would never be whole again. Even now, OJ, I cannot enjoy a woman. My desires have been altered permanently. The ones who initiated me ensured that my body would only crave for what they wanted it to. And I know I am not alone in this. I can tell you with certainty that many prophets you see on TV, men who claim to bring the word of God, are bound by the same chains. Some crave only married women, others are just like me. The scariest part is their followers have no idea. These prophets stand on altars built on secrets. They hold pies in their hands, rings on their fingers, and whispers in their ear. And those who try to question them, they don't last long. Even their junior pastors, the ones who suspect the truth, dare not speak, because the moment you challenge them, you sign your own death warrant. OJ, I want to be honest with you. I have never sacrificed a human being, but I know many who have. I know that to climb higher, blood must be spilled. And in this world, nothing is ever given freely. I have everything I've ever dreamed of: money, fame, and influence. But I would trade it all just to go back. to undo that one night. Because now I know there is no turning back for me. But you, whoever is listening or watching, whoever still has a chance, you can choose differently. Love yourself enough to stay away. No song, no fame, no power is worth what I have lost. And if you think this is just a story, then I pray you never have to learn the truth the hard way like I did. I have more to tell, OJ, but I will leave it here for today. There are names, so many names, and if I speak them, the world will shake. But first, OJ, tell me, do you really want to know these names? For more confessions, click on the story on how her daddy promised her and had sex with her. Incest in this generation.